Esophagus,
Stratified
stratified squamous epithelium. So that is the stratified squamous epithelium of the esophagus, normal, okay, showing us the regular maturation pattern of the squamous cells as they ascend to the superficial layer. Now, unfortunately for this esophagus, as you can notice, if that is the basement membrane plane, the basement membrane is already disrupted and invaded by those pointed squamous cells. So they are already in the underlying connective tissues or in the lamina propria of the esophagus. Okay, some have even reached what layer is pointed already. If that is the lamina propria, and then that muscle is called muscularis mucosae, underneath the submucosa. So the submucosa is already infiltrated, even the smooth muscle layer, which is called muscularis propria or muscularis externa. Okay? Hanggang sa outer layer of the muscularis externa ang infiltration by the squamous cells. And then in the gastrointestinal tract, in between the inner circular and outer longitudinal muscles is a nerve plexus. Okay, what is the specific name of the plexus in between the muscle layer? Ano? Meissner's or Auerbach? Auerbach. How do you call the structure pointed? Keratin pearl. So that what is the degree of differentiation of this tumor? Okay, well differentiated. If we are going to scan all portions of the slide, we will be able to identify that this is actually the esophagus. Number one, because of the characteristic lining epithelium, and if we go downwards, we will be able to see the layers of smooth muscle fibers. Are we seeing the lower third or the upper third of the esophagus? Why?
Smooth muscle.
Okay, so because all the muscles that we are seeing are smooth muscles only. Okay, we are seeing the histology of what organ?
Stomach.
Anong mucosa yan? Stomach. Okay, very good. The stomach. So, dyan, sa stomach pa rin. And then, in that area, we are seeing now the junction between the esophagus, the mucosa of the esophagus, and the mucosa of the stomach, or the gastroesophageal junction. Now, who among you here is fond of drinking alcoholic beverages? Especially those who will vomit pag pag nalasing na. The first change that will develop in this slide, in this condition, is the replacement of the stratified squamous epithelium with that type of epithelium. Let us zoom into the pointed portion. So instead of stratified squamous epithelium, the mucosa, like the epithelium of the esophagus, will be replaced by What type of epithelium? Yan. Anong type of epithelium yan? Cuboidal or columnar? Columnar. Simple columnar mucus secreting epithelium as evidenced by the presence of mucin or mucus in the lumen. Now, yung mga tao palaging nagabamit, they will initially develop that condition. So from the initial stratified squamous epithelium, it will be replaced with a mucus-secreting intestinal type of epithelium. How do you call that change?
Intestinal metaplasia.
Okay. Metaplasia. Why? Bakit ganyan na metaplastic change ang mag-develop?
Or it should,
Pag palaging nagabamit,
Protection acid.
because of the damage.
what are the protective mechanisms of the stomach against the hydrochloric acid that is produced by the stomach itself? One is mucus. Okay? There are mucus glands in the gastric mucosa which will produce mucus that will hinder the penetration of the hydrochloric acid to the wall of the stomach. Unfortunately, in the case of the esophagus, its lining epithelium is stratified squamous epithelium. Wala siyang mucus that will protect itself if exposed to hydrochloric acid. So that is the problem in recurrent vomiting. Sige-sige na vomit, eventually, a metaplastic change will develop. And then, pag meron ng metaplasia na nag-develop, sige pa rin inom, sige pa rin vomit, eventually, metaplasia will be followed by dysplasia. How will you define dysplasia? Ano ang dysplasia?
Loss of organization.
One evidence of dysplasia is loss of polarity. Instead of the nuclei being situated at the parabasal layer, there are already nuclei seen in that gland at the middle layer and then even at the apical portion of the cells. So there is disordered growth of cells in dysplasia. So from metaplasia, dysplasia has developed until eventually that is one gland which is displaying dysplasia. Eventually, how will you now describe the shape of the glands pointed? Irregular na. And then there is already fusion of the glands. Those are the histologic features of malignant glands. Okay. And then if we will examine the epithelial cells lining, how will you now describe the nuclei? There is marked stratification already. And then how will you describe the color of the nuclei pointed? Hyperchromatic. And then take note of that large elongated nucleus. And then there is also an ovoid hyperchromatic nucleus, so that how will you now call that variation in the size and shape of the nuclei? Pleomorphism. So, all are evidence of malignancy. How do you call that condition we're in? The squamous epithelium of the esophagus undergoes metaplasia to become colonic type of epithelium. Mucus-secreting colonic type.
Barus.
Ano?
Barus.
Okay, Barus esophagus. And then eventually, dysplasia will develop, which will pave the way eventually for the development of an adenocarcinoma. Okay, so those are already malignant glands infiltrating the muscles already of the esophagus. Okay. We are looking at the mucosa of what organ?
Stomach.
Stomach. So, how do you call that pointed layer?
Lamina propria.
Lamina propria. How about that?
Muscularis.
The muscularis mucosa. Now, notice that the lamina propria is thick. Okay? And then there are dark areas present in the muscularis propria. Let us zoom into that pointed portion. Okay, we are at low power objective already. So let us zoom in more. Are those epithelial cells?
No.
They are?
Lymphocytes.
Okay, mononuclear inflammatory cells, indicating that that organ is
Chronic.
chronically inflamed. And then the thickening of the lamina propria, maybe one contributor will be increased number of collagen fibers in the lamina propria. How will you call that change? Histologic change.
Desmoplastic. Fibrosis.
Fibrosis, very good. And then another possible mechanism that will increase the thickness of the lamina propria is edema. Okay, secondary to?
Vasodilation.
This is chronic inflammation. What happens to the blood vessels in inflammation? Increased vascular permeability. Aside from the increase in vascular permeability in chronic inflammation, another contributor for the development of the edema is angiogenesis. Why?
Growth factors secreted by the
Ano ang characteristic ng wall ng newly formed blood vessels? Are the layers complete already? No. Kaya tinatawag na leaky vessels ang newly formed blood vessels, which will contribute to the development, to increasing the degree of edema. Aside from the increased vascular permeability. So if we are able to see mononuclear infiltrates in an organ, it will indicate that that organ is chronically inflamed. Chronic inflammation of the stomach. Chronic gastritis. So, and then the lymphocytes have even formed, how do you call that structure?
mucosal
With central area of pallor.
lymphoid follicle.
Germinal center and then the entire thing. Lymphoid follicle or lymphoid nodule. Again, the pointed mucosa is the mucosa of what organ? Stomach pa rin. Okay? And then, in this portion of the stomach, there is sudden disruption of the continuity of the mucosa of the stomach. Yan yung defect. And then at the other end, okay, meron na naman tayong makitang mucosa ng stomach. What is the diagnosis for this? Ulcer. How do you define an ulcer? An excavation in the surface or in the mucosa of an organ. So, dito mayroon ng excavation or defect in the mucosa of the stomach. How will you differentiate erosion from ulceration? Adult nonsense. Kasi yan, most likely will start from an erosion. And then eventually, it will develop into ulceration. Have you discussed already the predisposing conditions for the development of peptic ulcer disease?
H. pylori.
Okay, there are many factors. So, mga aggressive factors and then defensive factors. So, deficiency of the defensive factors will pave the way for the development of peptic ulcer disease. And then, pag magdami din yung, mga harmful factors, even if the defenses are intact, magde-develop pa rin ng peptic ulcer disease. It will develop secondary to the imbalance between the aggressive factors and then the defenses of the stomach. Hopefully, you will review those factors that will contribute, that will interplay with each other in the prevention and in the development of the peptic ulcer disease. Going back to the question, how will you differentiate an erosion from an ulcer? If the excavation is limited to the mucosa, it is called erosion. If the excavation has already reached the submucosa, it will now be classified as an ulcer. What is that bacteria implicated in the development of chronic gastritis and peptic ulcer disease? H. pylori. Aside from being associated with chronic gastritis, peptic ulcer disease, what are the other conditions where H. pylori is associated? Cancer, very good. So, carcinoma, aside from that, what else? Aside from adenocarcinoma,
Lymphoma.
very good, lymphoma. Ano itong ibang slide? 116, 116. Okay, 116, herpes simplex esophagitis. Okay, there are how many strains of herpes simplex that is or are commonly infecting humans? 8 ba na herpes? Yung most common types 1 and 2. So type 1 affects the genitalia or the perioral area? Okay, perioral. And then type 2, genitalia. So however, okay, recent survey, mayroon ng herpes simplex type 2 na nag-cause ng perioral infection. So, paano kaya napunta yan? Sometimes, pwede din na type 2 cause ng esophagitis. So, paano kaya napunta yung type 2 sa esophagus?
Pagkain siguro. Pagkain ba? Esophagus.
Okay, before we proceed to the pathognomonic area, let us first describe that area. Okay, what is the type of inflammatory cell? Poly or mono? Mono. So that this inflammation should be chronic. That will now be the evidence that the cause of this inflammation is herpes simplex. Those are the pathognomonic. Anong tawag sa changes that the viruses will produce to the infected cell? What is the specific term for that? For the change that will be produced? Morphology of the cell. Cytopathic effect. So that is the characteristic cytopathic effect of the herpes simplex virus. Formation of multinucleated giant cells. And then the giant cells will be different from the inflammatory giant cells because the nuclei are large with glassy appearance. Then, wait lang ma-project ng maganda. There are even nuclear inclusions. Those are those that are actually viral inclusions. So those are the two cytopathic effects of herpes simplex infection. So nuclear, intranuclear inclusions plus the formation of the multinucleated giant cells with large, glassy nuclei. Okay. So for reference, those multinucleated giant cells are actually the squamous cells which are infected by the herpes simplex virus. And then that area, anong diagnosis natin dyan sa naka-point na area? Ano?
Erosion.
Aside from necrosis. Ito yung epithelium. Okay, there is erosion because hanggang sa mucosa lang, hanggang lamina propria lang. That structure pointed is muscularis mucosa. It is not disrupted, so that defect, that excavation is an ulcer or an erosion. Okay, for our last slide. Again, that is the mucosa of the stomach. And then unfortunately for this stomach, the submucosa and even the muscular layers are infiltrated by those cells. Ayan. The cells infiltrating the wall of the stomach is displaying large, round to oval nucleus with very scant cytoplasm. So they should be the lymphocytes, the malignant lymphocytes. So the diagnosis for this condition is lymphoma. So kung yan lang, lymphoma lang. However, if the mucosa is shown, we will be able to identify that the organ is actually the stomach. Now, based on the histologic appearance of that neoplasm, our next differential diagnosis should be gastrointestinal stromal tumor. Have you discussed that already? Nasa stomach yan na portion.
GIST.
GIST, okay? Gastrointestinal stromal tumor. How will you differentiate the two?
Mesenchymal ang GIST.
That one, GIST is
Mesenchymal.
mesenchymal, and then the other one is
Lymphoid.
Okay,
Galing
lymphoid.
sa mycoma niya.
Okay.
Galing sa
lymphoid malignancy, and then the other one is mesenchymal neoplasm. How will you? Sometimes GIST will look very similar with a lymphoma in histology. How will you differentiate the two?
Spindle shaped cells.
Okay, sometimes the GIST will produce spindle-shaped cells. However, there are also GISTs which will display round-shaped cells. Ano yung immunostaining for GIST?
Cyma.
It is, I think, mentioned in Robbins.
Cyma.
Have you discuss c-kit or CD117? Read on it. CD117, and then the antigens that will be displayed by the lymphocytes, which should enable us to differentiate definitely a lymphoma from a gastrointestinal stromal tumor. So that should be it for this slide discussion. Do you have any questions? Okay, so that the coverage